ready to start the podcast after some awkward delays due to some... It's just due to some awkward reasons, really, from Harvey. But we won't go into that. It isn't the voice of Harvey Hinkler this week. It isn't the voice of Ben Robinson. It's Jake Adams.
As host?
What?
As host?
Yes, of course I'm hosting it. I suppose we're back for another week of the podcast. Yeah, so I'm joined by James Noble this week. I'm joined by Ben Robinson and Harvey Hinkler. So guys, welcome back.
Thank you.
Hello. How you doing?
Good, thank you. Just thought we'd dive straight into it. Start off with the National League matches from the weekend. With top of the table clash. With start off with Leyton Orient, who played Gateshead at the weekend. They came out 2-0 on top. James, how do you feel about the match?
Well, it was obviously. It looks like it was a game that kind of. I haven't seen highlights at this stage, but it comes across as one that was quite tight and kind of steadily opened up. Because obviously, you look at it and it seems like it kind of kicked off sort of towards the closing stages. Obviously, 97th minute, second goal for Leyton Orient, and then red card in the 98th. But yeah, just another kind of big result, really, in terms of kind of putting on more stable footing. Leyton Orient's status as sort of kind of being in prime position for going up or promotion alongside the other sides up there. But yeah, just really another big result for them, which kind of obviously increases their kind of strengthens their position, but also weakens one of their rivals. So although Gateshead are sort of towards the lower end of the promotion contention, it is always good to kind of get one over a rival in that sense, because you're able to sort of it's a double-edged sword in a positive sense, in that you're sort of strengthening your own hand, but also sort of knocking back one of your rivals. So positive on two fronts for Leyton Orient, really.
Yeah, of course. And then Ben, I was going to pass over to you. So of course, these games where of course they've won 2-0 against the side who is like in around the playoff places, that's got like loads to do for their confidence. It's only going to boost morale. How do you think getting these wins against these type of sides is going to help them towards getting promotion?
Well, I think every win's important, but I think these sort of wins, like James said, puts their other teams down, and also psychologically, even if they haven't played other teams, makes them think that, well, they seem a bit unstoppable, even when they're not playing at their best, and even though there's a tight game, they're still nicking wins or winning games, finishing comfortably like they did against Gateshead eventually, after a red card and 2 second half goals. But I think confidence-wise for the team, going into Christmas, if you're top of the league, it's always a good sign in any division, even if it's with 46 games altogether. You know, it's a long season, but it's always a good sign. It's always a positive sign early on if you're top of the league by that much.
Yeah, of course. So Harvey, just talking to you now. Just of course, I touched on with Ben there. Of course, the win against the side in the playoffs. You think again, like, of course, to beat Gateshead, of course, they seem to come to playing Salford again. Their teams they want to beat. So do you think going into the second half of the season, are Leyton Orient the favourites for the title now?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mentioned last week that Leyton Orient were my team to. I said it was an obvious one and maybe a bit of a cop-out pick, but I think it's just a reasoned pick because Leyton Orient do have a very strong squad. Macaulay Bonne got another goal at the weekend. He's goals for fun in the National League at the minute, and I think 17 this season in the National League. Macaulay Bonne,
like that, isn't it? Yeah.
And if you've got someone like that at the top of the pitch, constantly providing, and you're creating chances for him constantly, it's one of the main things that gets you up. Like, if you don't have a consistent goal scorer, you're probably not going to get promotion in any division. And I'd see Leyton Orient as the side to stop in the second half of the season, because they've not let anyone slow them down. Like, Gateshead put up a good game. I thought that they probably ran them closer than a lot of teams will this season, especially away. But yeah, because, well, took him till the hour to open the scoring. Great goal from Karoma. He curled it in top corner after cutting inside. It was a great goal. Like, it's just one of those bits of individual quality that you can't really stop. But I think Leyton Orient did have the majority of the chances, but Gateshead still looked alive in the game, and it was just a poor pass back led to the second goal. And then, obviously, unfortunate that Greg Ollie saw himself red carded after his second yellow. It was just I think it was just a moment of frustration that where Gateshead thought they were in the game, and then a silly mistake in that late on the game throws it away. I think it was just a bit of frustration latching out, but unavailable for the next game. But I think Gateshead have nothing to be ashamed of in that result, because they have lost to, in my opinion, by far the best side in that division.
Yeah, no, of course, I totally agree with you there, Harvey. So just, as soon as we have a little Leyton Orient here, they're playing on Saturday away to Bournemouth in the early kick-off, boys. What's the score going to be, James?
I will go for, I'll say 3-1 Leyton Orient, just on the, just looking at where they're positioned respectively, and the fact that obviously Leyton Orient are coming off the back of a positive result. You back them to, they're going to want to consolidate it with another win. So I'll go 3-1. Yeah,
of course. Harvey?
I think Leyton Orient I think it'll be a 2-0. Bournemouth would have been probably the most inconsistent side in the league this season, which showed they're 11th, bang mid-table, 7 wins, 7 draws and 8 losses, and I can see that being 7-7-9 this weekend. I think 2-0 Leyton Orient. I think they'd be fairly comfortable.
Yeah, and Ben, finally.
Well, I think it'll be 2-1. I think it'll be still quite tight, but I think they'll get the win. But also, I've just seen this, that they've got 7 games. I think it's 7. 7 games between now and the 5th of January.
Right.
And the 5th of January, on the 5th of January, they're playing Salford.
Ooh.
So, to end that long run, which could be very fatiguing for them.
It could be. Well, it's bound to be.
But I think they'll get a win in this game. I think they'll win 2-1. I think they'll just sneak it, because they've been nicking the wins recently. So
yeah.
I think they'll win it.
Oh yeah, no bother. So just moving on to second in the table, Salford. They played at the weekend in a 3-0 win against Haven and Waterville. It leaves the gap at the top hill now just a point. They were very tight up there. Goals from Rooney, Politic and Whitehead. James, how do you think of this result for Salford?
It's similar in many ways. It just consolidates their status as one of the teams to beat in the division, and the side who are one of the sort of, it now looks like 3 sides really, well 2 sides I suppose, who are kind of really pushing for that top spot. So it just consolidates their status as one of the dominant sides in the division, and they're just, you get the sense really that alongside Leyton Orient, they just seem to be the 2 teams who at a very good time in the season are kind of beginning to peak or kind of really hit their stride. And if they can keep that up over kind of, as Ben says, this really busy period over the next month or so, then it looks good for them really, because if you can sort of have your best spell of the season over Christmas, then you could be picking up potentially, around 20 points really over the course of 4 weeks or so, which makes such a big difference. So again, both them and Leyton Orient seem to set themselves up very well for what's probably just about the most important period of the season in terms of the volume of games. So they're looking good.
So I mentioned how Adam Rooney scored, Ben. Just how important is he to their side and their chance of promotion? Of course, the player who you're quite fond of, obviously.
The Adam Rooney podcast.
Yeah, I was going to say, past 2 podcasts we have discussed this. Yeah, I think now with obviously Bon getting the goal against Gateshead, Rooney's now levelled with him by scoring as well. And I think having a goal scorer in this sort of league really helps you stand out, because you can create as many chances as you want, and you can have a solid back 4 or back 5 or back 3. But if you don't get goals at the end of the day, you're not going to win games. And I think the most you can finish without a top goal scorer is probably mid-table.
Yeah.
Even maybe just about challenging for playoffs if you've got a really good defence. But I think if you've got someone at the end of the cross, someone who's got the quality and experience, I think it's really handy to have going up. Well, I think in any division to stay up, just a goal scorer is important.
Yeah.
You know, I think he's a spearhead for that team.
No, of course. I think just to expand on something Harvey mentioned on, obviously, like both these sides have something in common. Both of them have a killer in front of goal, which obviously, as both the lads touched on, it's obviously going to help them in their search for promotion. Harvey, just touch on both these sides, compare them. Who is going to slip first?
I'd probably have to go Salford.
Yeah.
I think probably people think I do this podcast in a Leyton Orient shirt the way I go about it. I do think they're the standout team in the division. I think Salford, this weekend it was a statement of intent. I think this game, because these are the type of games where they should be winning at home, but often you'd see them winning these games 1-0, 2-1. They won 3-0. They put that intent out there that we are one of the top sides in this division. But I don't know. I do see them just. I think with expectations being so high for them because they're off the back of a promotion from the National League North, and went into this season with all the money pumped in again. The addition of the person who is talked about most on this podcast, Adam Rooney, and I think he will be. I think we will end up renaming this the Adam Rooney podcast. To be honest,
Probably will, yeah.
Sooner or later, I think it's got to happen, or at least just have some sort of shrine or jingle dedicated to him.
Just some sort of homage, really.
Yeah, we'll just have an Adam Rooney. Well, the thumbnail could just be Adam Rooney's face, like layered over himself.
Just
like,
casted in bronze.
No, just like go on Photoshop, just layer his face over like 100 times all over the screen.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that'd be good. But no, I think Leyton Orient will probably just get the better of Salford this season. But Salford have an interesting couple of weeks coming up in the Christmas period because on Boxing Day they travel to one of the better teams in the division as well, Wrexham.
Yeah.
Who are up there.
Hard game.
But on New Year's Day, do you know who Salford play?
No.
They play Wrexham
Oh,
at
no.
home. They play Boxing Day and New Year's Day. Wrexham versus Salford.
A Christmas cracker.
And then they've got Leyton Orient, like 4 days later.
And Wrexham have got Solihull Moors as well in between the two Salford games. So at the top, it is just it's probably one of the best seasons in recent memory in the National League when you're looking at the promotion race because there's so many good teams about, and whenever they play each other, they seem to produce good games, and it just seems like, and they're coming in thick and fast, the top fixtures. So I personally can't wait for this Christmas period of football.
I tell you what, this is a good opportunity. This is a really good opportunity for the teams down below who have games in hand.
Of course.
Because the lower teams in the playoff places, they'll be sort of overlooked because of how good the teams at the top are doing. So those teams are going to be battling out against each other, while these, from say, I don't know, 4th to about 7th, they'll all be, or even 8th, depending on, I think certain are level on points with guys now. They'll all be wanting to take their opportunity now, since the other teams are playing each other, and if they can get wins, I mean, look how tight it is. It's 1 point between 3rd and 6th. I can read that properly.
It's ridiculous.
So, and some of those teams have games in hand, and I think it's going to be really tight going into Christmas and around that period.
This is the thing, though. After next week, we're not going to be back for a few weeks, depending on when you're coming back from Christmas. I don't know, because obviously we are university students. We do utilise the university studios. So we're not going to be able to deliver a podcast over the Christmas period. We're just going to have like a Christmas roundup, I suppose, when we come back.
Yeah, no,
it's just a massive Christmas.
It'll probably be a huge kind of culmination of what's happened. It could
Yeah,
be it could be a totally different angle.
What have we missed?
Yeah.
We'll have to keep tabs on it, but it's going to be very interesting to see what happens over this Christmas period.
Just some absolute Christmas crackers. I'm sure Santa's Slayer is going to be very busy over the Christmas period in the non-league. Just touching on Salford's match at the weekend, their way to the draw Merchants Chesterfield. James, what's the score going to be in that one?
I'll go for it's difficult to look sort of anywhere else than the draw, really. I'll go. I don't know. I'll go for 1-1.
Yeah,
it's not very exciting. Just more of what we've seen before, but it's difficult to ignore that pattern. But part of me just wants that to carry on. It'll be quite upsetting when it finishes. Actually,
no, of course. Ben,
I'm gonna go for something mad. I'm gonna go for 3-2 Salford.
3-2.
If I get this right, I'm gonna be annoyed if I don't.
All right then, Harvey.
I can see this being a very comfortable win for Salford, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Chesterfield fans planning protest. I don't think it's for this game specifically, but Chesterfield fans planning protests. Very volatile atmosphere for the Spyrites at the minute, and I think, yeah, I can just see that getting to the players because they've got a young squad at the minute. Chesterfield, Martin Allen, as I mentioned last week, slowly losing the plot.
Yeah, touched on that, haven't we?
Yeah, touched on my expletives that I quoted, but Ben wasn't happy with them, and I could see his face shriveling.
Shrieked with fear.
Shrieked
with fear.
Shrieks in the background. I was just quoting Martin Allen.
Huge smile on my face when that happened. Just moving on to teams just underneath them in the table. There's a midweek clash which involved Solihull Moors versus Harrogate.
By the way, I said 3-0 the score. I never got the chance to
Yes.
say.
Sorry
3-0
about
Salford.
that. So this game in midweek between Solihull Moors and Harrogate ended 2-0 to Solihull Moors. Of course, they've got a game in hand, just like Wrexham, who were in FA Cup action at the weekend. And on those above, including Harrogate actually, who find themselves third at the moment for the time being, actually, when we have a look at the table. Yeah, they're third. Just on goal difference, but of course Wrexham have that game in hand, just like Solihull Moors, so they could leapfrog them. Just start off with James, what's your thoughts on Solihull Moors and teams around them like them?
Well, again, I mean, it's obviously very tight kind of within. Obviously got Leyton Orient and Salford look to be kind of cut themselves adrift now in terms of they seem to be the two really competing for that automatic slot at the top of the table. But I mean, they're doing well. Obviously, they're probably just about alongside Salford and Leyton Orient, like the non-league team with the most attention on them at the moment because of the FA Cup. Obviously, the cup tie they had live on the BBC last Friday. And obviously now the potential of their maybe getting a home draw to Arsenal in the or playing at home against Arsenal in the third round if they can beat Blackpool away, which is obviously a big ask, but they're obviously doing well this season, so you wouldn't put it past them. So yeah, I mean it's got the potential to be an absolute gem of a season for Solihull Moors potentially. But yeah, they just seem to be kind of ticking along very nicely, and probably to an extent those sides who are all sort of clubbed together in that second group after Leyton Orient and Salford, probably quite content with their positions because they at this moment in time look reasonably comfortably positioned within the playoff spots, but they're not a million miles off the two teams at the top. So I think they'll be content with where they are, and obviously there's the risk a cup run can act as a distraction, but if they were to get through, it would just be both financially, but in terms of just morale at the club and everything like that would be brilliant, and you can see it potentially being a springboard for the second half of the season if they were to get that third round tie that could potentially take them maybe closer to Leyton Orient and Salford. So yeah, it could be some season for them potentially, but obviously a lot rides on that replay.
Testament to the defence as well.
Yeah, of course.
Like in this run, it's been unbelievable. That 10 games unbeaten in all competitions at the minute, and in those 10 games they've conceded twice, which is just ridiculous.
A madness at this level.
At any level, it's incredible run they're on.
I think just when goals leak in at this level, though, you know what I mean, for a team to have that strong of a defence can only help them.
Yeah.
Ben, just touched on Wrexham and Solihull Moors. I know James actually stole my question almost, really. He kind of answered your question. How is the cup runs for teams like Wrexham and Solihull Moors going to affect their season in the long run, do you feel?
Well, Wrexham drew their derby against Newport. So I think, again, with a replay, financially, if you get through, brilliant. But if you don't, then it's a game that's potentially wasted there. So in a way, you sort of want to try to get through. So then there's a point of really going back to the replay and getting through. Solihull Moors have a big game against Arsenal to get through. I can't think off the top of my head who Wrexham or Newport would get. But being fourth in the table, it's what you prioritise, really. They have a game in hand as well, so they have an extra game they have to play, which is good, but it also means that the more games, it's a busy period, they have to catch up. I think they should still try an FA Cup because funding, even if I think automatic promotion places possibly just out of reach. I think they'll be just out of reach
Yeah.
from them this year. I think the playoffs, so many teams, you never know. So if they can keep going, because they've been up there a few years now. So if they can keep going, maybe get a cup run and stay in the playoff places. Because I think when you are that comfortable in the playoff places, I know it maybe shows a lack of ambition, but you should be like, well, now we're stuck here. It's fine. We can be comfortable for the rest of the season, hopefully, and get a few games hopefully on TV against bigger teams in the FA Cup.
Yeah.
That's the most Nigel Clough-esque like, standpoint I've ever seen. Derby and Sheffield United fans will understand what I mean by that.
So Harvey, just looking at these teams further to 8th, got Harrogate 3rd, all the way down to Sutton at 8th. Which one of those teams are your maybe favourites to even push Leighton Orient and Salford, just maybe rock the boat at the top of the table?
It's hard to ignore Fylde.
Yeah.
I think they've been doing really well of recent. And just by the way, you said you were struggling to mention Wrexham and Newport, the winner of that, face Leicester at home.
Ooh.
So it is a lucrative tie for whoever wins that game. But yeah, I don't know. There are a lot of teams involved because obviously, like we mentioned before, 1 point separating 3rd and 6th. Gateshead aren't too far behind that either, even though I can see them just slowly slipping away a little bit. And it's just going to be a fight for that 7th spot, but obviously there's still a long way to go. Solihull Moors, I think, have relied on the defence a lot, and they tend to just get 1 or 2 goals in their games, which is enough for now. But if you come up against a team that breaks you down, are you going to have the firepower to be able to respond?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not quite sure.
Yeah.
I'd go Fylde. They're probably the
Yeah,
ones
Fylde?
to challenge. Yeah.
So James, who would be your favourite to maybe get 3rd this season and maybe rock the boat at the top table?
I would probably again be tempted to look at Solihull Moors just because, I mean, that the defensive record that Harvey mentions is a really important point, because it does, if they can keep that up, which is obviously a big if, that does make such a big difference, because you know when you go ahead in games, when you've got a record like that, it just gives you so much confidence, because you feel like there's you kind of just think we're not going to concede to an extent. So when you do go in front in games, you back yourself to go on, see it out and win, which is, and again, defensively you don't necessarily need to be rotating too much and stuff. So if they can keep it steady, avoid too many injuries, then that foundation, which looks more solid than any other side in the division at this stage, if they can maintain that, then I think there's every reason for them to believe that they can be the ones to either push Salford and Leyton Orient closest, or at least be the next best side in the division. So I'd go Solihull Moors, but there's so little between all those teams there.
Yeah, there's just so much talent in that little place in the table there. Ben, who's your favourite to maybe get 3rd?
I'm going to say Wrexham.
Wrexham, yeah.
Because I think, as well as playing well, having a game in hand and things like that, and maybe a bit of momentum, I think for away teams going there, it's so hard to travel all the way down to Wales and back, and they're going to tire other teams out throughout the season, really, coming down to their place. Playing away at Wrexham's hard. They've got a really good home record, and I think playing at home is, having a fortress is really good, especially carrying momentum. And then if they do get into the playoffs, which probably more than likely will, then that home tie, it's hard to look past them, you know.
No, it is. So just moving on all the way down to the bottom of the table now. We'll touch on all the top. There's Braintree Town at the bottom here on 14 points. So they lost 2-0 at the weekend to Barrow, which leaves them 7 points from climbing out of the relegation place. What's your thoughts on the bottom of the table, James, at the moment?
Well, it has the look really of it's not quite as tight, obviously looking at it, because it does seem like Braintree are cut adrift that bit more, and I mean once you go past them, it is a bit closer amongst the teams down there. But yeah, again, the one positive they have is coming into the Christmas period, if there's a time for them to sort of get get their act together, so to speak. And 14 points isn't a terrible total sort of compared to some other instances at this stage of the season. Then they could potentially dig themselves out of the hole, and if they can put a run together, maybe put themselves out of the relegation zone, or at least kind of in more of a running battle than what it looks like at the moment, with them sort of cut adrift that bit more. So it doesn't look good for Braintree at the moment. The other teams down there, you feel like it's very much sort of, if they can put a run together, then they'll probably be okay because of how tight it is. But yeah, the one positive is the fact it is the Christmas period. If you can be on it over the next 4 weeks or so, then give yourself such a better chance. So I think it's all to play for over the next few weeks, really, and it's a bit of a bottle answer, but you kind of have a better picture of it come sort of the new year.
No, of course I agree with that, obviously, because there's still loads of games to play, obviously, isn't there?
Yeah, but Braintree do, obviously. They're the side who've got real work to do compared to the others.
So, Ben, do you think a team like Chesterfield, whose goals difference is a lot lower than teams around them, is going to help them this season?
Yeah, I think. I said scoring goals was important, which they have lacked, which is why they're too far down. But equally, I think defensively they haven't been too bad, and getting draws against bigger teams, it's just a difference of 1 or 2 goals maybe, helping the side out. I don't know if they'll make any signings. I feel like they'll probably be forced into getting a few names and possibly even free agents just to...
They're not doing too well financially, though.
No, that's what I'm thinking.
Sinking
ship. Free agents.
It's just a sinking ship for
It'd be
Chesterfield.
primarily loan deals, you'd imagine, for Chesterfield.
Yeah, and I think for this season, it's probably just the objective: just stay up, get as high up as you can, and just sit there and try and survive this season, and then it's a rebuilding process next season.
Alright, yeah, fair play. Harvey, of course, I think all the lads could agree on here that Braintree are maybe a cert to go down at this stage. Is there any other team in the division which you see going down, for sure?
Well, like I said with Braintree, I think they're going to need a run of form hotter than this room to be able to stay up this season.
Very hot in here.
It's very absolutely roasting.
It's just quoting Nelly's song now. It's getting hot in here.
Do you want to get copyright?
Yeah. It could be down to the occupants.
Full covers coming out on the next podcast. No, I don't think I can see any certs for the drop, because above Braintree, like James mentioned, it is a little bit tighter.
Yeah, it is tight.
But Dover last year narrowly missed out on the playoffs.
I was going to say.
and they've sunk a bit. But to be fair, I don't think they were expected to get playoffs last season, so it was unreal for what they're doing. And to be fair, Dover are actually picking up a bit of form at the minute. I say 3 games unbeaten. But they just need to beat the teams. But then again, Saturday they're coming up against Fylde, so that'll be a very, very difficult game for them. So it's difficult to say, because Dover actually aren't doing too badly at the minute. It's them picking up form, but Maidstone are a team that I've seen dropping recently. They started the season at least okay, but the recent run of results hasn't been up to standard. So I'd say, if I had to say someone to go down with Braintree, which I think Braintree will, I'd go Maidstone at the minute.
Right. So Braintree do play away to Haven and Waterlooville at the weekend, which they sit 19th. The side pretty close to them in the table, only 7 points off. James, how do you see them getting on against Haven and Waterlooville?
Well, they're a team who aren't a million miles from them. 7 points above them, 19th place, so a couple of places clear of the relegation zone. Haven't and Waterlooville, so it's obviously away from home. It is a tough prospect. So, and the fact again that Havant and Waterlooville will be partly looking over their shoulder, thinking we don't really want to give them a look in. Kind of gives the impression that they might just edge it. But I mean, again, Braintree can look at that set of fixtures and kind of think, okay, this is kind of a chance to begin a run. Then maybe that could be the approach they take into it, to maybe get a point or a win out of it. But I'd probably edge towards Havant and Waterlooville, maybe 2-1 Havant.
Right, Adam, I'll pass over to Ben. Score prediction for that match?
You did say Braintree versus Hampton Waterloo, didn't you? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Sorry, I was just looking at the fixtures
Good
there.
to know you're paying attention.
No, I was just looking at the other ones. That's why I was just making sure I didn't predict any bad ones. I think since Braintree are on sort of a downfall, really, aren't they? So I think it'll be a close. I think it'll be a draw. I think it'll be 1-1.
1-1?
Yeah, I think possibly. I don't think Hampton Waterloo might they might see them off, but I think they're also down there, so I think it might be a tight game. Really.
And then Harvey.
I think it's going to be about 3-1, Hampton and Waterloo, because if you look from the end of October to the start of December, their games have been very erratic.
Yeah.
Beat Maidenhead 7-0, and in that beat Maidstone 5-2, losing 3-1 and 3-0, and the only goalless draw they had was against, no surprise, Chesterfield. So, I'm going to go 3-1, Hampton and Waterloo.
All right. As that wraps it up for the non-league, National League table rather, and talk about that. But now everyone's got a game of the weekend, which isn't really much substance to it all. But all you're going to try and sell your game to me, and I'm going to choose which one I find was the most entertaining, just off what you tell me about it. Start off with James.
Well, let's have a look. Am I allowed to go for a game that I'm guessing it might have been rescheduled to Tuesday night?
Yeah.
Solihull Moors against Harrogate Town. Again, I seem to be developing an obsession with Solihull Moors.
Yeah, that's fine.
Healthy or unhealthy.
It's just Harvey put it in Orient. There's loads of fans in this room.
And then Adam Rooney all together.
Indeed.
Me too.
We can have 3 shrines.
See, this is what we need to do. We need to create themes, and then eventually we can release T-shirts and then make money.
Indeed.
Themes and memes.
Themes and memes.
We've got a business plan.
And the listeners are being given an insight into the business plan too. So you know,
Don't tell the uni though.
Genius at work. So I'd probably go Solihull Moors 2, Harrogate Town 0. Not necessarily the most exciting match, but just because they come off the back of obviously the cup game on Friday night. Decent amount of time to kind of rest and recover, but it's so easy to kind of have that like after the Lord Mayor's show effect and kind of not really get yourself up for those kind of league games that like bread and butter games, so to speak. Not to be disrespectful to Harrogate, but after the cup tie. And then obviously, especially having had the draw on Monday night, it would be so easy to be distracted. But 2-0 win, another clean sheet. So yeah, just kind of that game, not necessarily for entertainment value, but just for kind of maintaining that focus on the league, and refusing to kind of have the heads in the cloud really when it would have been so easy for them to do so. So Solihull Moors 2, Harrogate 0.
Right, Ben.
Sorry.
just playing with your headset there.
No, it's because I've got it tangled that I don't
You're not
see the
even
help.
wearing it. Why are you bothered?
It's like Houdini. Anyways, I am going to the Gator game out up to Bromley in the press box again. Hopefully. Well, I still need to contact him, but I'm sure I'll be allowed again.
I hate to interrupt you, Ben, but it's a game from last weekend.
Oh,
You fully did not listen to the question.
I thought you said looking forward to this weekend. No.
Mind you, that's probably better though, looking in some ways. So
Ben,
we'll look
Ben,
at that.
Ben, right,
I'm being a mug.
on this
Sorry.
occasion, I'll let you have Gator versus Bromley, but just tell me why this match is going to be so good.
You did have a game plan though. You told me you had a game plan for this section.
Oh, for the highlight game I did.
Come on.
Yeah, because
It
that's
was
what we're
filed-
talking
yeah,
about.
I know,
son.
right.
Pay
Tell me.
attention,
Yeah.
Ben.
I know, I'm sorry. I'm far behind. Yeah, it was a filed 2-2 draw because I think it was. You sort of nicked mine by picking the. Two last minute.
Yeah, no, don't spoil my game. Don't try to sabotage me winning.
I know, he's trying to bring him down with him.
Yeah, I know.
Stop it.
He's tearing us to shreds
No,
today.
it was filed 2-2 draw with Sutton United because it was such a tight game at the top and 2 goals in the last 10 minutes or 3 in the last 15-16 minutes. I think it was such an important point to nick for Sutton United, just to keep up with the top teams, and for Fylde it's not a bad point, but you'd be a bit gutted, wouldn't you, really, to not catch up and get the 3 points. But yeah, it seems like quite an exciting game. Very, very action packed.
Yeah.
2-2.
And just after Ben's tried to hijack and sabotage Harvey's game, Harvey,
Sorry.
please
Right.
tell us your game.
Let me paint you a picture.
All right. Sorry.
Hartlepool United go into a game against Dagenham and Redbridge, 8 games without a win.
Story.
See, this links into previous podcast as I finally know why I called James Liam Noble.
There he is.
Because Liam Noble plays for Hartlepool. That's why I got it confused, and I wrote about him that week, and I wrote about him again this week. So I apologise, James, but I finally found out where it's come from.
I'm more than happy to be labelled a professional footballer.
But yeah, 13 minutes in, Liam Noble puts Hartlepool ahead, and you're thinking, happy days, going to end this run from the penalty spot.
Denied.
And it goes on. It looks like Hartlepool are doing all right. They're hanging on, but you think, yeah, they're going to see out these 3 points and they're going to get the season back on track. No. Dagenham and Redbridge equalise in the 90th minute through Ben Goodliff, and then Matty Robinson pops up in the 93rd and wins it for the Londoners. And I think you could say that's a dagger to the Hartlepool.
Oh, that's brilliant.
It's not brilliant. I might
Wait,
just
wait.
stop the podcast right
nice.
now.
So yeah, that's my
Repeat,
game.
lads, I'm not sure.
So I tell you, out of them, Harvey was close to edging it until that puns kind of threw everything into the mix again.
To be fair, I thought that put more in the lead then.
But I've still got to hand it to Harvey. Yeah, he sold it for me with the Hartlepool game. Some nice backstory to it.
Storytelling.
I think
Jeff Stelling
James
probably
was a
wasn't
close
that
second, and then Ben. I'm sorry.
I think-
It's just because I wasn't paying.
Yeah.
I was paying attention.
He dropped the ball, quite literally dropped the ball.
You said Jeff Stelling would be left crying. It'd be like
Oh yeah. it's
during
the
that.
same.
Jeff Stelling would probably be left crying at that game.
Oh,
Big Hartlepool
Yeah.
fan.
I
Bet we recorded soccer Saturday with tears in his eyes.
Yeah.
I do remember when they went down. I felt quite bad.
Poor
actually.
bloke.
Last minute.
Oh, when he was rocking like
Yeah.
before Gareth Southgate, when he had the Hartlepool shirt with the
Yeah.
waistcoat over.
Yeah.
It. Oh, what a bloke.
I suspect there are probably some Bayern Munich fans who can vaguely kind of empathise with them if they were
Oh.
about in 1999.
Oh. Slightly different circumstances. I mean,
Slightly.
Yeah, not
I'd
Mid-table
consider
battle.
losing to Dagenham and Redbridge a much harder blow than Manchester United in the Champions League final. I don't know about you.
indeed.
So just moving on from this, of course, Harvey got the best game in my opinion out of those three. James second, and then Ben, big bottom. Sorry, Ben. Just moving on though.
It's not a good description.
I've told you all to come up with a player this season so far. It can be someone who's on loan from a Premier League club who's struck the stuff at a young age. Could be anyone of any age really, just in form at the moment, or could be someone who's at the end of their career but he's still doing well. So James, who's your player?
It's going to be a bit of kind of shameless, not so much self-promotion, but promotion of the team I cover.
Yeah.
Seaham, and this isn't just to try and get sort of more on side with the Seaham squad either.
Get yourself a place on the bench.
Yeah, indeed. But it's Michael Chilton, who he's a very experienced Northern League player, but he's 38 years old. He's a striker, and he's just been, when he was signed, kind of off the back of John McDonnell joining the club, about a month and a half back or so.
Yeah.
And when he joined, a lot of the comments on social media were goals, basically, like he's going to guarantee you goals, and I mean he's come more than good on that, really, because he's just I don't have the exact total for how many he's scored since he's come in, but he scored 2 in the club's only win of the last few weeks, away at Stockton, 4-3 win about 3 weeks back. One of those was a really, really impressive free kick that he just bent into the top right hand corner from 25 yards, and you can just tell how intelligent a footballer he is in terms of how he links play with Dan Wilson, who's one of our other strikers, and shows that age really is just a number, really.
Yeah.
So Michael Chilton for just the impact he's had at Seaham over the last kind of month and a half, 2 months or so.
Right, yeah, Ben, who's your player?
I'm going to go with former Newcastle United centre-back, now playing in the National League, Mike Williamson. Because he's...
Just let me stop you there, Ben. It's just a weird way of pronouncing Adam Rooney, but But continue, please.
Just wait till we get to Harvey. That's to say.
Oh, I've got the 3-page essay ready.
Alright, continue. Sorry.
Well, this season Gator have really tightened it up. I mean, I think they've got +7 goal difference now, but they have 8 clean sheets this season. They've got with their back 5. It is really solid, and the keeper's doing really well. But Mike Williamson's at the heart of it. I think he received Player of the Month the other week and the other month, because of like a run of not conceding any or many goals at all, really. And he sort of, I think, not found his level, but at his age he's done really well to perform like to that level, especially since with Newcastle, since I'm a Newcastle supporter, you could see his pace dropped and things like that, and it's good to see him actually doing well and fitting in well with the team, and he's a good leader at the back for them. I think he is quite a key player for them if they want to challenge for the playoffs and even promotion this season.
No, of course. I think, of course, we touched on the National League situation before. I think players that have, I think teams who have these players who have got experience playing the Premier League, like, it can only help them. Even if they are getting on a bit now, it can only help them in the change room and off the pitch. Yes, Harvey, who's your player?
Well, as James was doing a bit of self-promotion for Seaham and the club he writes for, I do a bit of promotion for the club I support. Tyler Smith, he's on loan at Barrow.
Oh no.
From Sheffield United. And this isn't just like promotion, just look at me talking about United again. I watched him week in, week out last season for the under-23s when I was writing for them. Unbelievable talent. About 19 years old, striker. Unbelievable pace on him. He's got 9 goals so far this season for Barrow. Scored at the weekend in their win over Braintree. And for a teenager, he's just got such awareness about him in the box, such a natural poacher, natural goal scorer. And with his raw pace, he can do a lot of damage to centre-halves in that league. And I honestly was surprised that we loaned him out, because I wouldn't have been surprised for like a few... Well, I was surprised that we loaned him out, but if he was still with us... he's not dead, but if he was still at Sheffield United, he'd probably break into a few cup games here and there this season. But yeah, I'd say Tyler Smith, because he's got all the makings of a natural striker in the English leagues, but he's not dead. Just so everyone can clarify on that, he is well and truly alive. I hope.
Yeah. So, boys, that's 3 good suggestions. Big fan of all those. Just thought it was a nice little feature add to the podcast. Just see different types of players playing through the leagues, their stories and backgrounds around them. But just moving on, of course, I bottled it this week. I said I was going to have 2 quizzes. That's all a lie. It was all a ruse. Just got the one. I hope you're ready. Because it's about to go down, this quiz.
Is it the same format as the weeks before? Or you just shout your name out and
you know what,
see
Harvey?
what the crack is?
It's funny you say that. I'm going to change it up this week.
Oh,
It isn't just
Seamless.
coming in. It isn't just coming in with your name. I want a signature noise from all 3 of you.
Oh yes.
James, noise. Come on, hit with it.
Salah.
Salah, right?
Good noise.
Ben.
That's not right. Oh,
I'm
going knee.
me, right?
I think I'm going to channel my inner Alan
Oh, no.
Partridge. Back of the net.
Right.
That's my sound.
Let's start this. It's a
feel like a bit of
5
an
question
idiot
quiz. Is it 5? It definitely is 5. Don't you worry. It's actually some of the questions you should get, because it's been touched on already, so it's more of an attention thing. Sorry, Ben. So let's see how we get on then. Question 1. So Braintree are bottom, but how many defeats have they suffered in their 23 games so far this season?
Back of the net.
Go on.
Is it 12?
No.
Knee.
Ben?
8.
No.
Salah. 14.
Wait.
No. I'll give you one more guess, and the person who's closest from these guesses gets the point. Harvey?
It's a stab in the dark. 16?
No. Ben?
Knee. Oh well, no. Make the noise anyways. Did you say 14 before?
Yeah, 14's been said.
Did you say 12 before?
Yes, 12's been said.
13.
Incorrect. James, can you steal it before it goes to whoever got the closest out of this round? It's this round of answers which rounds up who got the closest.
go 15.
Correct.
Oh,
James steals the point
I've
in
been
the
one
last
away.
second. In the last second, he steals the point. Question 2, James on 1 point, the rest of the lads on 0. So, of course, Dagon Red beat Hartlepool 2-1, and of course, they're 1-0 behind. But in what minute did they equalise?
Back of the net.
Oh, sorry.
90.
Correct. 1-1 here, Ben.
Is this game of the day as well?
Slacking
I know.
here, you're slacking here.
I wrote about it as well.
Yeah. Third question. So which side out of the top 5 has the least amount of draws? I'll give you an extra point if you can name me how many draws they've got, but I'll just take the team.
Knee Harrogate?
Incorrect.
Back of the net.
6.
Harvey?
The top 5 was it? Sorry.
Yep.
Wrexham.
Incorrect. Who's got the least amount of draws, James?
You've got 3 teams to choose from.
I will go. Continue my obsession. No, in fact I won't. Salford.
Incorrect. So who's going to call out first and claim it, boys? There's 2 teams.
Knee Leighton Orient?
Incorrect. Who's going to claim it?
Back of the net. Oh, James got there first.
Go on, James.
Solihull Moors.
Yes. And can you name me how many
Oh, good grief.
they've got out of a stab in the dark? How many draws have they had this season?
How many games have they played? Is it 20?
It's 23.
2 for them because they've had the cup.
22.
How many draws have they had?
Could I steal the extra point if you don't get it?
Yes, you can. I'll open this out for other people if you didn't get
for. So it's least in the whole division or just out
top
the
5,
top,
but I
top
think
five?
I think it is in the whole division as well.
I'll go for 3.
Incorrect.
Back of
I
the
guess it's
net.
close.
Go on, Harvey.
4.
Correct.
Right,
2-0. Benjamin. Let's sort it out.
I don't know what I can do.
So Greg Ollie got a red card for Gateshead in their 2-0 loss to Leighton Orient. But in what minute of added time was that awarded
I
to
know
him,
this as
Ben?
well.
98.
Yes, correct.
I
2.
knew that one as well.
Either.
2. The final question
game
could
is on.
steal it.
To quote Sherlock.
This question's going to go for 5 points. So, person who answers this,
Jesus.
yeah, big
You
stakes.
could have went for 3.
Everyone can win. No, 5's the magic number, isn't it? Or no?
3 is the
Yeah.
I think the temperature somehow got higher in
Yeah,
the
no.
podcast studio.
I'm sweating over here in my chair.
Captain.
Who's going to steal this one then? So Paul McCullum is Eastleigh's top goal scorer this season, but of how many goals has he scored in
Back
the
of the
league?
net.
Harvey.
7.
Incorrect.
Knee
Ben?
14.
Incorrect.
No. Are we just gonna go highest, like closest from these numbers?
After the second guessing numbers, the person who's closest gets it if you don't get it. James?
Salah. Go
Who's going to jump in after this? Because if he gets it wrong, it's just
I'm
a
the
free
jumper.
throw again.
13.
Incorrect.
Back of the net.
Harvey.
Didn't even do my partridge accent then. 11.
Incorrect.
Knee
We nearly swore there.
10.
Incorrect.
No.
Grief.
James, you've got the chance.
Tension is killing me. I'll go for. We had 9. I'll go 8.
Incorrect. I will tell you who got the closest. It was in fact Harvey.
No.
Back of the net.
12 goals. 12 goals he's got
That
so
would
far
be
this
just
season.
what
Harvey
Alan
if he gets a
Partridge said
13,
when
Ben
he
if he
started
gets a
that
10.
Oh,
Harvey,
I'm so close.
Harvey inches of being 1 goal out.
In
Lads,
true
it's-
Alan Partridge fashion, just
Yeah, in
being
true Alan
not
Partridge
as
fashion.
bad as everyone else.
That's a skill.
I'm just gonna go a point to be honest.
It ended up being quite a bit of fun after quite an easier quiz than usual.
That was good though, yeah, I enjoyed
Yeah.
that.
So lads, it's been a pleasure having you.
Been a pleasure being here.
Yeah.
Indeed.
I've
As
enjoyed
usual.
hosting. I'll pass it on to James Noble hopefully next Thursday.
Certainly will.
Certainly will.
The last before our hiatus, our Christmas hiatus.
Hiatus, which is the code word for Jake eating turkey.
What are you guys doing this weekend? Anything?
I am the host, so I'll ask that question. Guys, what are you doing this weekend?
I was trying to hint at it.
Wait, I just asked it, Ben.
To me.
It's just flipped it around. It's reversed it on you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
flip reversed it. Some ensign.
Saturday, I've obviously got the get at Barrow game. Barrow? Bromley. So that's a big game for them. And then covering that for Sports Bite. Sunday, going to the Newcastle match at home to
Ooh.
Wolves. And then-
Instant defeat coming in.
You've said that the last 2 times, and Newcastle won the last 2 times.
I'm just trying to help you, Ben. That's why, obviously.
Fair enough.
James, what are you doing this weekend?
I am covering Seaham again this weekend. I'm
Nice.
just trying to check who we're playing, but I believe it was Concert last weekend, and unfortunately we lost 7-2. Yeah, Concert are top of the Northern
I've
League.
never liked going to Concert. Very, very foggy place.
In fact, yeah, this isn't much good for the listeners, but yeah, take a look at that. That's the yeah.
There's a fair
So,
bit of
yeah,
fun there.
I've played a bit of rugby in my time away to them. Constantly foggy.
Yeah,
Horrendous.
so yeah, it was clearly a very foggy afternoon there, but yeah, we are playing Dunstan this
Dunstan,
weekend
yeah.
at home.
Top level
So yeah, so I'm
Fair
hoping
enough.
we can get another win or just a point on the board. Obviously, it was always going to be tough last
Of
weekend,
course.
but yeah, so that, and I'm hoping to catch at least some of the Liverpool game at lunchtime on Saturday as well, away at Bournemouth.
Yes.
So that'll be the weekend probably.
And Harvey, how's your weekend looking?
It's looking very football based as usual. Won't be covering South Shields this weekend, unfortunately. I was working this Saturday, so I didn't get to, and away at Nantwich won't be able to make it this weekend. But Saturday will be a football day. There'll be football on the telly from the early kick-off, watching Bournemouth and Liverpool, and I will sit through Soccer Saturday. And then the evening kick-off, like the rest of the country, the biggest game on Saturday is Reading versus Sheffield United.
Disgraceful.
There might be 2 other teams playing at that time. I'm not too sure. I don't think anyone's ever heard of Chelsea and Man City anyway, so it's fine.
Small town.
Yeah. So yeah, that'll. I don't think I can go to a bar and ask the barman to put that on, because I think I'll just get the weirdest look ever in Sunderland. Anyway, if I were in Sheffield, I'm sure they'd accommodate me. But I'll be sitting in my room watching Reading Sheffield United. If we win, I will drink plenty to celebrate. If we lose, I will drink plenty to commiserate. So yeah, and Sunday will probably be a recovery day.
Yeah, all right. But for me, my weekend,
Work.
Cutting chicken like a pro.
cutting chicken, slicing meat.
Yeah, but you'll be eating the meat for Christmas. So Happy
Not from
days.
there, I won't be.
no.
Not that overly stuffed
I'm not-
horse meat.
yeah. Yeah,
Don't sue us, Sainsbury's. I'm not
Let's-
joking.
let's get them, Sainsbury's. Let's get them.
Take them.
Gonna turn up to the podcast next week, and there's gonna be 5 Sainsbury's workers waiting for me outside.
Yeah, no, exactly. That could happen easily. Boys, it's been a very fun 52 minutes, 15
It's a long
seconds
podcast.
of witty content shared with you guys. I think it just wraps up a fun third edition to the Non-League podcast. And, yeah, bye.
Bye.
Right.